Hey guys, we're back. This time we're going to be taking a look at an upcoming game from Phase Shift Games, Drop Drive. And this is going to be on Kickstarter, I believe on the 28th of September. You can see there, this is a prototype. And I want to point out that this is the prototype, obviously. And a lot of the components are going to be different in the final version. So take a look at the campaign when it starts. I'll have a link down in the description. I think there's a preview page up for it now, but it's coming soon. And you'll get to see a list of all the newer, the way the final components are going to look. But for now, we're going to get in and take a look at this. This is from the creators of Dungeon Drop and Dungeon Drop Drop Too Deep and Tavern Tales. Tavern Tales is a little bit different game. That one's a card game, but the other ones all pertain to having a pool of cubes that you drop onto the board and do various things with. Follows that same theme, but it's a little more complex and a lot more interesting to me, at least. I love the sci-fi theme, so we're going to get in and take a look. So ordinarily, just inside the box, you have your rule book and things, but because this is a prototype and the rules are constantly been changing, actually I have them printed out. This is version 0.9, so it's not even the production version. So again, things may change from what I go over in this video to the final version, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea of how the game works out. And of course, everything in this box is probably going to change. First thing, the sun. I think this is going to be wood in the production model. He made us styrofoam ones because the original prototype only had a flat token. And you want this curved domed sun, so when you drop the cubes on it, they bounce off and they spread out. And it's a really cool feature, and at least we had something in there to represent it. Next thing we have are the player ships, and again, these I know are going to be changing from what we have here. This is the second bag I've ripped. We have the combat dice that you're going to be using for the various colors. The player ships in this prototype are just these little rockets. These are going to be replaced with, I believe, wooden octagon-shaped discs. And they'll have the ships printed on them, I think, for the players. But we have 4 different colors in there. And then we have the pirate ships. And again, in the prototype, there's these little plastic ones, but they are going to be wood meeple type things. And these are actually going to be cut out similar in shape, but like I said, wood, they're going to be disc type things too, so they'll be thicker. But we have those. Next we have the market demand tokens, and these I think are staying the same, but it's literally just cubes here, and these are going to be used a certain amount depending on the player count. This is basically your game timer. As people buy things from the planet, these will be marking them off, and then eventually it will trigger the end of the game. Next we have a whole ton of cubes, tokens, and things, and this is pretty much everything you're going to use for the game. We have these little fuel canisters. Again, don't know if these are final design. They're probably going to change. But we have the fuel canisters there. There are, I think, 5 different colors of these asteroids, which are used for the various commodities in the game. I'm dropping stuff. We have these I-beams here that are used as salvage. And then these larger cubes, which reference the various planets that you can go to in the game. And again, these are going to be dropped over your star to create the system that you're going to be flying around in. Next thing we have are the nav tools, and these are kind of neat. Again, subject to change, but you have one here, if it'll focus, it has like an engine on the back. That's going to be your starting piece, and then depending on the drive for your ship, you snap these together, and there's a different amounts of them based on your ship's drive. And they have what's called the drop drive, which you're literally going to take your ship from that height and drop it onto the table. Where it lands is where it goes. Your other one is your rocket drive, where you're going to take this and bend it to create basically a flight path of where you want your ship to go from where it lands to where it's going next. We'll get more into that when I do the cover the how to play, but those are kind of neat. Again, this is a prototype, so they're subject to change, and there's going to be more of them, I believe, in the final game. I think we only got enough in here for a 2-player game. We still played 4 players with it, but they're stretched very thin at that point. Next thing we have are our credit tokens, and I believe in the final game these are going to be just the token itself. It's not going to have this overhang on it. And there's even contemplation of maybe a stretch goal to make these into metal or an optional add-on. I'm not sure. So we'll have to see how that turns out. But there's also going to be more of these in the final game than there are in the prototype here. And these go in denominations of 1, 5, and 10, I think, in here. Of course, I can't find any 10s, but there's also talk about them possibly going up to a 25 in the final version. Definitely need more of those, though. We played a 3-player game the other day and ran out very quickly, but there will be more in the final version. The next thing we have are the planet tiles, and these were the original prototype ones. They're actual tile. And I don't know how they're going to be in the final one. We'll have to see. But the replacement ones we got, which I think were just cheaper to manufacture for quick replacements on the prototype, are these cards. Either way works for me, but I do like the thicker tiles. I hope they're going to stick with that. But on these, you have the different mechanics that are going to happen when you land on a planet, as well as the different commodities the planet buys and how many of each they're going to buy and what they're going to pay for. And then each time somebody sells one, you're going to mark it with one of these cubes. They no longer buy it for that amount. And eventually, they're not going to buy that commodity at all anymore once all of these are filled in. Also, once all the cubes available are gone, that triggers the end of the game, too. They have an easy side here, and then a more advanced side here. The prices are different, and you can see here there's one less commodity they buy. So that's an interesting change. Definitely a cool addition. That's something that wasn't in the Dungeon Drop versions of the game, and it's definitely unique to this. The next things we have here are the ships. And these are the front half of the ship and the back halves of the ships. And you're going to randomly get some of these at the beginning of the game. They each have different stats. This first one is your drop drive, which it's basically how high off the table you're going to be dropping your ship from when you use that. This second one is a combat rating. So you can see there, this one has a -1 combat rating. This one has a +2. And then they have things like the cargo bays here, where you can put things that you pick up. They all have names too, and those are all the front halves. And these are all the back halves. And you can see more cargo here. This is your exploration value for when you're landing on planets. And this is your rocket drive for when you're just moving around the system. And then, again, those vary. The number of slots you have and everything vary depending on the ships you have. And when you take a front half and a back half together, you can see the titles line up. And it makes the name of your ship as well. So, those are a really cool function. And I like the variety in there. There's a lot of options, mixing and matching a front and a back half. You can come up with a lot of interesting ships, and I've seen several really good ones and a couple that kind of screwed people over, but that's part of the game. Next we have are the exploration cards, and there's a pretty good sized deck here. I'm not sure if there's going to be more added or things are going to be swapped out again. They are subject to change. But every time you land on a planet, you're going to use this explore number on the back half of your ship. And it's going to allow you to draw that many cards and you get to keep one. There's other ways to get them as well, from taking salvage back to a planet. You can use that to get an extra card. And there's 3 basic types of these. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. There's 3 basic types of these cards. Again, the artwork is not completely finished. But you have these passengers here, and these are guys you pick up. These are the planets that they're looking to go to, And then when you drop them off, you get a bonus down here. You can have as many passengers on your ship as you want. There's also ship upgrades, which are the next one, that'll give you bonuses for passengers. I think there's a luxury crew compartment one. So we have, these ones are ship upgrades, and you can see here the title. This actually goes in between the front half and the back half of your ship, and the title gets added to the name of your ship. And then they all give you some kind of bonus down here. In this case, you get +2 credits for each green asteroid you sell. Some of them have an additional cargo bay in them. I know there's a salvage one that's pretty nice. You get bonuses for salvage that's in that cargo bay. And you can have any number of those on your ship as well. And the last one we have here are specimens. And specimens have a little icon up here that tells you what planet they're from. They have stats over here, and I'm going to get them wrong what they are. I think the bottom is weight. I'm not sure what the other two are off the top of my head. But each one of them has a little scoring system down here. In this case, for each different color, you're going to get 2 credits. So you get 2 credits for him, 2 credits for a yellow one, 2 credits for a blue one, and so on. A lot of times these will pertain to these. If you have a weight of below a certain number, you get points. If you have the other stats, and I'm sorry I can't remember what they are, they're going to be described better in the new finalized rule book, so you'll be able to tell what those are better. But basically, these are going to be your scoring cards, and your ship has little specimen containers here on the bottom. They go in those specimen containers. You can get ship upgrades that add additional specimen containers on there too. And yeah, they're your bonus scoring at the end of the game. There is a giant selection of those exploration cards available, and they're used, like I said, throughout the game. You're going to be picking up for a ton of different things, but picking up and delivering the passengers will get you points. Add-ons to your ship get you all sorts of different bonuses. Some upgrade your combat, some upgrade your jump drive, some upgrade your ability to carry specimens and things like that. Specimens are bonus points at the end of the game. You want to work on those so that they combo together well. And then your cargo bays that you have are how many of the asteroids you can pick up. You pick up, in this case, this ship has 3 here. You can put 1 in each to take to your planet. And then the final thing in here is the captain's cards. And these are obviously prototype experimental ones, but these are experimental rules that they're working on for a PvP variant of the game. And as your ship flies over different things, it picks it up. If you fly over pirate ships, you get to fight them. Well, in this, when you fly over another player's ship, it gives you the option to choose peaceful or hostile. And then there's bonuses on here depending on what your opponent picks. So if both people pick peaceful, you actually get free stuff depending on what your guy is. If you both pick hostile, bad things can happen. In this case, you start losing things. If one person picks peaceful, one person picks hostile, then you get to steal things. It's an interesting aspect to the game. My group doesn't really much care for PvP, so we tended to avoid it or went all peaceful just so we could all get bonuses. But this depends on your group. If you're one of those people who like a little bit of take that in your games, being able to select either or on these, just keep in mind if both people pick hostile, it usually ends badly. But those are a cool new addition to the game, and again, the rules for that may change, and I believe there's going to be more options. Right now there's only 4 in there, but they have some awesome artwork for the different alien races as well, which are kind of cool. And then on top of all that stuff, we have the optional walls, and obviously these are just prototypes, but they're going to be similar to the walls that were used in Dungeon Drop, and these allow you to outline your play area basically, so that when you drop your pieces, they don't go everywhere. And I have this zoomed in so far, I probably won't be able to get this on camera. But they make a hexagon around your area. If I can do it good enough to get on camera here. Kind of like so. That is really odd shaped, but you get the idea. It's hard to make it on camera because I can't actually look through the thing and move stuff at the same time. But we actually have a box, and I don't have it up here right now, but it's a wood box with a lip on the edge that my wife made us for Dungeon Drop, and we use that. It's got belt lining, so it makes less noise when you drop the cubes in it, but it helps to keep all the pieces from flying off the table. So, but these will be available during the campaign too, a much nicer version of these, but they do help if you're playing and you don't want your pieces ending up on the floor constantly. Anyway, we're going to go and I'm going to show you a quick how to play so you can get an overview of the game, and then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts. So here we are all set up for a 2-player game, and to make room I squished this down into a pentagon instead of a hexagon, but other than that everything's the way it should be. Each player starts the game by drawing 3 of the exploration cards, and then you get to keep 2 of them and discard 1. So in this case, I'll zoom in on these a little bit so you can see, but the green player here has kept 2 ship upgrades, and the blue player has kept 1 specimen and 1 passenger. So looking in here, we can see the green player has the Radiant Inflatable Limitless Destiny, and it gives us a +2 to our combat, which is nice. We get a bonus for white asteroids, and the salvage bay, who gives us extra credits for salvage that we identify from there. We are limited to 3 cargo hold spaces in the back and 1 for the salvage bay, so we need to keep that in mind. And we have our 1 fuel canister on there. The 4 exploration is nice too, with a 4 rocket drive, and we have a 5 drop drive on there. And this one is being captained by Captain Spronix. Then we go over to our other side here. We have the Fathomless Singularity. And we have a 6 drop drive, which is kind of inaccurate, but alright, it'll do. -1 to our combat rating, but we get a ton of cargo slots here, so we're going to be running as many asteroids as we can get. 3 exploration's pretty good. 3 rocket drive kind of sucks. We're going to hopefully be able to get some ship upgrades to boost that up a little bit, because we're very slow for having such a nice cargo bay. We're captained by Captain Grumore. He's a mining specialist. Then we have our 1 unknown specimen here. He allows us to spend a credit to reroll a die, which is nice. And then we have Liz Phantasmal here, who wants to go to the white or yellow planet, and is a celebrity worth 5 credits if we get to deliver him there. Her, I think, but not assuming pronouns on an alien. Then again, this is not finished artwork, it's just sketch, but that's a look at what we have. So the next thing to do is the Big Bang and populate our galaxy. So after we get our players all set up, we each give them 1 fuel to power their drop drives. We're going to take everything else that's left, and I use the lid. It's a force over from Dungeon Drop, but you can just hold them in your hand. If I can get them all. And you're going to take everything you have and you're going to drop them over the sun. And that's pretty much how you populate your galaxy. Then your players are going to each take turns dropping themselves in. It does not cost any fuel to drop yourself in during the Big Bang here. You're going to use your drop drive. So in this case we need 5 segments on our nav tool for the green player here. And the green player is looking for those white asteroids for the bonus we get here, as well as salvage. So we can find white asteroids near a planet that buys white asteroids for a lot. That would be nice. Blue planet's the best for white, which is way up there. They're not buying anything. So it looks like we can sell white for 3 on the pink planet here. And there's a couple white right next to this pink planet. So if we can drop in this area, there's a couple salvage here, a couple white, and the planet. So that's a good option for us. So that's where our green player is going to go. Say right in between those two. That works for us. We'll stand him up. Again, in the final version, your player ships are going to be a little bit different, so you won't have to do that. For our blue player, they're looking for asteroids just to sell. We also need to go to the white or yellow planet for our passenger, so any asteroids will work for us, as well as getting to one of those 2 planets. So the white's over here, but there's not much really close to it. You got to remember we have a very short rocket drive, and we have a 6 drop drive. So I think we're going to go over here next to the yellow planet and hope to get some of this stuff. So we're going to drop in right in there. Not too bad. And that's pretty much the setup of the game. So now we're going to go on to the first turn. And our green player here is going to have the first turn. And they're going to look at what they want to do. They want to grab at least a couple of those white, maybe something else, and swing back over to that pink planet. If we can get a salvage along the way too, I don't think our engine's powerful enough for that. We could split it up into 2 turns, but we only have 4 cargo bay spaces on our ship, and one of them's already occupied with fuel, so we can only pick up 3 things without having to dump something. So I think what we're going to try to do is get this white here, this blue, and then maybe to the planet. If we can pull that off, which I don't think we can get all of them and still make it to the planet. We're going to fall just shy of the planet. If we skip the blue and just grab the 2 white, we can go straight to the planet, and I think that's what we're going to do. So we will go there. We're going to pick up these 2 white along the way. They go in 2 of our cargo spots. Now, since we landed on a planet, we go to the landing on a planet phases. The first one is to deliver passengers. We don't have any passengers, and it's important you do these in order because they do make a difference. The next would be to identify salvage. We don't have any salvage on board, but if you do, you would draw one of the upgrade cards for each salvage that you're identifying, and then you get to keep it. This is where the order comes into play because you can have a ship upgrade come up that gives you a bonus to the asteroid you're about to sell, or your passengers that you drop off first may boost things that you sell later on in the turn. But we don't have any passengers, we don't have any salvage, so we don't get to do that. But we do have asteroids to sell, which is our next step. We have 2 white asteroids here. And if we look on our ship, our gas extractor gives us +2 credits for each white asteroid that we're selling. So we're going to get 4 right off the bat for the 2 of these. And then we look at our white planet. Or we're not white, sorry, we're a pink planet. Helps if you look at the right one. And we look down here, and they sell for 3 each. So these are going to sell for 5 each with our bonus. So doesn't matter how many you sell, we're only going to put 1 cube on here. So we're going to sell them for that price. So that's 5 each. We're going to get 10 credits. So we take a 10 credit, add it to our ship. Put it up here so you can see them. And then these are going to get redropped over the sun. The next thing to do is to take the pirate on this planet, which is our pink pirate here, and we are going to drop him into the system. And then we're going to go through and we're going to activate all pirates that are in space, including the one that we just dropped. And the way the pirates work is they're going to look and find the closest asteroid of the matching color. So in this case we have the pink. We have a pink asteroid here. He's going to fly over here and he's going to steal that. Puts it on his planet. If someone kills this pirate, they will get all of the bounty that he has collected that is on the planet. Eventually they're going to get quite a stockpile on there and it makes it worth fighting. This guy has a good bonus to fighting, so eventually that's going to be a tempting target for him. It's not so easy for the blue player to fight because they have that -1, but they can get upgrades that'll boost that up. And fighting is as simple as rolling a d6 One player rolls for their own ship, one of the other players rolls for the pirates. Higher number wins. So we get a d6 plus 2. The pirates just get a basic d6. That's going to end our green player's turn. We go on to the blue player's turn. The blue player only has a rocket drive of 3, so this is as far as we can move. We have to keep that in mind when plotting your course. Ideally, we want to get to that yellow planet there. I don't know if we're going to be able to because of where we are. Yeah, we're going to fall just short, so we are going to adjust this so we end right on top of that blue. That way we can collect all of this. Since we weren't going to make it anyway, might as well make it worth our while and pick up some more stuff. I don't know if you can see, their ship's kind of off the screen here. We bring this down. Is that better? Part of it's still off. Let's move the Disney. We don't need these on the camera. So we got a specimen here we want to keep on camera. And we do have a passenger here. So we'll put them there. And then we're going to take our things that we picked up. I really can't get this whole ship on camera, can I? Let's see here. It's just an odd game to get on camera because of the way I have to place my camera. I can't finagle it to get the board and everything else. It doesn't really take up that much table space, contrary to what it looks like because I'm struggling with it on camera here. But that'll work. So then we're going to take our cargo that we got and we're going to displace it among our hold. Doesn't matter where you put things. It does matter in the case of like this salvage bay. In order to get the bonus for that, you would have to put salvage in that salvage bay, but we don't have anything like that on this ship. So that's all we're going to do. And that is pretty much how the game is going to play. It's just going to repeat that over and over. Every time you go to a planet and you sell, so like if we were to sell with this character now, we have 1 yellow, 1 blue. We go to our yellow planet, which is where we're headed next. We're going to sell. The yellow doesn't sell there. They don't buy it. The blue will sell for 4. And then we'll put 1 of the cubes over the blue. And these cubes are your timer. As you place each of the... We are zoomed in a little bit there. As you place each one of these cubes on a planet, when you sell things, the demand value will go up or down. And eventually they won't want it at all. And when these cubes are gone, that signifies the end of the game. Every remaining player in space is going to emergency dock at their closest planet, be able to salvage and sell things that are on board their ship, and then that triggers the end of the game. We add up our points to see who has the most amount of money on board their ship, and that person is the winner. Don't forget to add in the bonus credits you get from specimens on board your ship. And these are going to combo with each other the more you get. This one doesn't actually give you a scoring bonus, but some of the other ones will. Based on, in this case, for each one that you have a weight of 1 to 10, this bottom number is their weight. He's a 1, he would count. Our weight on this guy's a 14, so he would not count, so you'd only get that once. But if you have multiples on there, they start bonusing off of each other and gaining combos there. And I did look up the stats over here are the number of eyes, the number of limbs, and the weight. So there is a... I knew it was listed somewhere, I just didn't remember. But yeah, you add up all your credits at the end, plus all your bonuses. Whoever has the most credits is the winner. If it is a tie, whoever has the most ship upgrade parts will be the winner. If there's still a tie, whoever's farthest away from the sun is the winner. And that's pretty much the basics of Drop Drive. So that is a look at the upcoming Drop Drive from Phase Shift Games. Overall, I have to say I've played the game a bunch of times now, and I'm really impressed with it. I actually enjoy it a lot, and it's something that my friends seem to enjoy. It's fast, it's fun. It's a little bit more complex than the basic dungeon drop, and there's a lot of interesting decisions to be made along the way. A couple of things that kind of would like to see improved upon are being dealt, you only get 1 front and 1 back section at the beginning of the game, and that kind of limits you based on what you get. If you get a kind of a dull combo, it could really affect your game. I would like to be able to get like maybe one extra and then decide between the ones. Maybe you get to choose if you want an extra front or an extra back and so on. There's plenty of them in the piles to choose from, and you only see a couple of them per game. That's just something of my personal thing. I would like to see more upgrade cards. There's a lot in there, but a bunch of them tend to have two or so of the same thing. Just they're called something different, but they have the exact same effect, which is nice because it allows two people to get the same type of items. However, I would like to see more variety in there. There's a lot of cool ideas and options that I think could be added to that. Maybe something for an expansion, though. I think as a core set, this is fine, and it plays very well 4-player. I'd love to see a 5th player added. You have 5 pirates, 5 planets, but only 4 players. Kind of seems a little off there, but you would also, I think, need some more cubes and things to add a 5th player. So again, maybe that's something for an expansion. Overall, though, I really enjoy the game, and there's some extra complexity you can add to it by flipping some of the planets over and using the different stat lines here. One thing in the earlier versions of the prototype, the flip side of the planets also had the pirates going after different things. So instead of just picking up the various colored asteroids, they had one that went after salvage, they had one that went after fuel tanks and things like that. And I think those added a little bit more flavor to it. I think they took them out for just ease of the rules. The white guy always goes after white crystals, the blue guy always goes after blue crystals. It's easier to remember that way. But I thought that was kind of a neat rule that got dropped at one point. But overall, I'm really excited for this game to finally come out. I can't wait to get my hands on the final copy with all the final components. We've been having a blast with it. The rules seem to be getting ironed out to, I think, their final state. I don't think anything major has changed other than some wordings here and there to make things more clear. It's just a fun game to play. I will say that I'm a little worried about the durability of these over time. From what I've heard, I think they're going to make the final versions of these links out of ABS plastic, so that's going to be pretty durable. But taking apart and putting these together over time, I'm not sure if they're going to get to a point where they don't hold or they get very loose and hard to put in position. We'll have to see on that on the final one. Again, these are prototype ones, so I really can't comment on that, but it is something that I'm considering to definitely keep an eye on in the final version. I do think they're really well designed, really well put together. There's extra strength. Not only is it cosmetic, you can't really see white, is hard to focus on, but there's little details and things in them. And I think like these knuckles on here aren't only there for visual show, it actually does strengthen this piece up a bit. So I have a 3D printer myself and I've printed similar things. So I'm kind of familiar with that kind of thing, but yeah, I think the ABS will help a lot on these. And worst case, I hope that they send us a STL file so we can print our own ones of these if we want extras too. And there should be more of those in the final game. As I said, more of the tokens as well. And a few of the other components will be different. Again, all this stuff is a prototype. I know I said it a bunch of times, but check out the Kickstarter for the latest versions of these. The player ship tokens I know have changed. These have changed and things like that. It's definitely worth keeping an eye on. I'm not sure if these are going to change size. That's probably the only other thing I have to say. These square cards are the exact same size as the ones in Dungeon Drop. I know they make sleeves for those. Spaceships sold them with the last Kickstarter for both Kickstarters for Dungeon Drop. So I know you can get sleeves for those, so that's not an issue. But these are a very odd size, so I'm not sure if they're staying that size, or they may change entirely by the production of the game, so who knows about that. These half-size ones, though, they're specifically made to be half the size of a normal card, and they're going to be a tricky one to find sleeves for. So I understand why they did it, and they look cool in the game, but for those of us who love to sleeve, I'm curious how that's going to work out. Plus, once you sleeve this stack, it's going to be ridiculously tall. You might have to split it into 2 stacks. So curious to see how that's going to go. I haven't actually tried sleeving those yet, but I saw somebody posted a picture of those sleeves. So they do make a sleeve that size. But again, any of this stuff is subject to change by the final version, so keep that in mind. And I hope, like me, this has piqued your interest and you're looking forward to the Kickstarter campaign. Again, it's starting on September 28th. There'll be a link down in the description, and I hope to see you there. That's going to wrap it up for our preview look here at Drop Drive from Phase Shift Games. As always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.